we're just starting to get to the point where they're believing in like metrics and stuff we're sharing, and they're starting to do more due diligence.
You said online was a channel, but you're trying to get into retail, right?
I think it was like 54% of the leads that converted were from my LinkedIn.
What are your biggest channels now, like at this very moment? Hello. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. This show, we're actually going to be trying a different one, a different intro for this podcast. We're going to switch it up, episode 11 now. We're going to be putting all these hotshot marketers on the hottest seat in marketing. So we thought, since we're talking about some of the hottest topics, we're going to start the show a little bit different this time. We're going to be starting the show with a little dab of hot sauce. Mark, I just told you a few moments ago to choose the hottest sauce that you have in your room. What do you got for us?
I have this Pepper Village. It's from a small producer. She's out of Alberta, but she's from Trinidad and Tobago and bringing a taste of her spice. I've never touched it before.
You never?
So this will be interesting.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So what I got here is a Farmer Roz Rude Boy. It's a cross between, and I have some numbers here. It's ridiculous. So it's going to be red Jamaican Scotch bonnet. I don't know if it's in yours, but it has a Scoville unit of 350,000, and also a Carolina Reaper, which is a Scoville heat unit of 1.5 million. So it's going to be pretty damn spicy. I'm going to take a dab. And once we can survive this, I think we can survive any question in marketing. So, oh crap. Oh my God. Okay, I think I put a little too much.
I might have put a little too much too, but.
All right. Well, cheers. Let's see.
Crackers and milk, just in case.
All right. Oh God.
Okay.
Holy smokes. Okay, this is spicy. I think I put a little. Oh.
It's gonna be interesting.
Oh man. Oh God. Holy smokes. So super duper spicy. We're probably gonna be. Oh God. How are you doing over there?
I'm not. I actually went down easier than I thought. I'm like, my lips are burning, my tongue's burning, but I can still talk. It's not getting to my brain, so that's good. I'm sweating. I'm starting to sweat.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna grab some water. 1 second.
I guess the person asking the questions is more on the hot seat.
Oh my goodness. Oh God. Yeah, this is spicy. I'm going to make sure not to put too much.
Sorry? Marketers are supposed to try new things, so.
Oh, God.
Live trial.
This is live. Unedited. Oh, my God. All right. But I guess once we eat this, no question will be unanswerable. Holy smokes. There will be no harder question than this. All right. Okay, I'm going to try to get through this. So, Mark, I'm looking on at your LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. Last 4 years at Susgrainable, co-founder and CEO. Maybe talk to us a little bit about how the company started and what do you guys do?
So company started out of my MBA journey at UBC. Met somebody from the beer industry. We had a class where we had to do an entrepreneurship thing. It's like lingers, and the more I talk, the more it heats up. So he came from the beer industry, and he was like, I wonder if there's something we could do with this byproduct, because we're actually throwing more and more of it away, and it's actually becoming expensive to deal with for breweries. So we looked into it. we did the school project. I was like coming from like a bit of a marketing and working with customers a lot. I was like, okay, the number one thing is we have to get people to try it as soon as possible. So we have to make something with it. So we started creating things like banana bread and cookies, fed it to classmates, and just iterated off those recipes because everybody really loved the concept of it. And then we finally landed with COVID. So we did baked goods up until COVID hit. And then obviously life got flipped upside down and we had to decide as an entrepreneur, like, what do you do? Do you close down? Do you do what? We decided to make ready-to-make baking mixes, so bringing it into people's homes and they can make it for themselves. But that also allowed us to then get branding because you can't really put branding right on a cookie that's sold through cafes. So there's the Coles notes on how we at Susgrainable turned beer waste into tasty, easy-to-make baking mixes while rescuing food waste.
And so 4 years later, are you guys sold in supermarkets? Are you guys mostly online, or what are some of your revenue channels?
Yeah, so we were basically selling primarily online while building the relationships with retailers. One of the biggest things we knew is there's a lot of communication that has to happen. And so if we can communicate directly with consumers, it'll be easier than trying to go through indirect channels. But we did manage to do, I think we were in 12 independents. We just did our first retail trade show in April. And to give people an idea, when you're looking to get in a grocery, you're looking at about 6 months to get from like a big event and getting people's attention to actually getting potentially on shelf. So we just got approval from one of the chains to start selling into individual stores. So yeah, we're super excited and stoked about that because our product sells really good going into the fall and the holidays.
So sorry, when was that event that you went to? 2021?
It was April 2022. Was the first trade show. We got in touch, but to throw things back, we actually chatted with this buyer during the pandemic, and it was just really hard to like communicate with them. They got to meet us in person for the first time at the trade show, and try the product and do all that, and so they were super interested from that point. All the others are still like in communication right now.
Wow. So you guys started in 2018. You started talking to this, I guess your first big client in 2020. Went to a trade show, closed your first deal in 2022. What was like the first couple of years like from 2018 to 2020? Talk to us about the very early beginnings, because oh my god, I can't even talk. First couple of years, I assume very bootstrapped, right? You were still in your MBA school, right? You were still in classes, taking classes at the time. What was the first 2 years like? You guys were trying to keep costs as low as possible. You did everything yourself, I assumed. What was that first 2 years like for you guys?
So first year was, we basically had one relationship because one of my co-founders worked at a bar, and they owned the bar and the cafe next door. So basically, while I was still in my MBA and in school, we were making product out of their cafe off hours. So we had very limited time that we could do it. Basically, we made like the banana bread and cookies that we validated during the class. And then we ran interesting things like cookie clubs out of the university, catered some of the profs and events at the university, and built that way up until we then went to farmers market the following season. So 2019, our goal was to do 100 farmers markets, which is stupid hard, and I would not recommend people doing that many. But we did it, and it was kind of good because we actually got in the media twice for it. The one thing I say is, like, if you're a marketer, you have to also be a little bit of a salesperson, and you really have to take advantage of any opportunity. So the one that I remember most of that season was Global News was just the weather. Their weather person was out talking about how it's a beautiful day, come visit the farmer's market type of thing, like do that. And I just brought her samples. I said, hey, thanks so much for like featuring the market. This is what we're doing at Susgrainable. And she was like, that's really cool. Let's get you on the show. And so we got on the breakfast show, like their breakfast news segment. about a month and a half later, which really
Wow.
helped build some more awareness. And so, yeah, we were building off that traction, and then COVID hit, shut down all our cafe partners, shut down the university, which we were selling and growing the relationship with. And that's when we took SIBA and a little bit more of our funds and then created the lineup of baking mixes. But we wanted to avoid grocery for as long as possible because it's super expensive. And now we're learning firsthand just how expensive it is.
Oh my goodness. So for the people listening out there looking to start a startup, number one, you want to start lean, right? You want to start as lean as possible. Do everything yourself if you can. Limit your costs or your expenses as much as possible, and start with the people around you, right? You started with this local bar that you had a relationship with, and then it started with the school, and you expanded from where you are at, not trying to go out and try to build all these new relationships because you already know some people around you. Start there and sell as much as possible every single chance you get. And like, you didn't pay anything for that segment at the news segment, right? You didn't pay for any money for that.
Nope, I don't think we've paid any PR yet. We're starting to evaluate it for the first time, paid PR, but we haven't done any so far, and we're 4 years old.
Yeah, 4 years later.
Organic marketing and a little bit of ads.
Yeah, too many times a company starts and they're like, okay, if I just got on to Daily Hive or just got on to CBC or some kind of news channel, then we're gonna explode. And then you start thinking, okay, maybe I'm willing to allocate $2,000 for this, $3,000 for this. And now suddenly you're $10,000 deep, and all that money could have gone towards, actually reinvesting back into your own product, right? Which you did a lot of in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, and customers are customers are getting smarter and smarter and getting ways, because I'm like, they know there's strategies out there. They know everybody's kind of using them. So one of the big things is like, if you go out and you build a website, but you don't have customer reviews, for example, and then you go out and do something big, you're driving all this traffic to your store, and it just doesn't look like it should, right? Like, it doesn't look like you've been building it for a while. And customers will see if you skip steps. So don't skip steps. Make sure you focus on building this amazing customer experience. And once you have that and you start getting like the organic traction, you want to try and replicate that organic traction through paid.
Yeah, that's amazing. So talk to us a little bit about some of the stats for Susgrainable. Like, did you guys raise any money? Maybe we'll start there. I think you guys did like a small fundraising around. Like, how much did you guys raise, and how did you guys do it?
Yeah, so far to date, we've raised just under or just over 300,000, mostly from friends and family and our own funds. We've gotten one angel involved, but it's really just like, honestly, the first step of getting funding is they need to believe in you as a person, and that you're going to be able to build it to like a team of 5 or something like that. They don't actually start believing in. We're just starting to get to the point where they're believing in like metrics and stuff we're sharing, and they're starting to do more due diligence.
Right.
Once they're doing the due diligence, that's where they're believing. And I'm like, I don't think an angel investor, unless you've built that relationship prior to starting a company or you've built other companies before, they want to see you as an entrepreneur for like at least 2 years to see that you're going to like make it through at least 1 or 2 of the hurdles. Like, for example, we've had 2 funding rounds. Our lead investors, the lead investor left, which we still have like follow-ons ready, but we need to find a lead for our next round. And then the very first one fell apart because of COVID. Like, we were building a business and building all the numbers for that business. Then you have a major thing completely out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
And everything out there says like, oh man, you should shut down this business. But you're like, no, we have something. And it's like, COVID didn't change the need to solve the problem, but it did change the need for us to change the product.
Right. Very, very interesting. So you guys raised about $300,000. What are revenues looking like right now? Are you guys And if you can share any other stats to tell us about what stage Susgrainable is at right now.
Yeah, so we're just shy of 200,000 in revenue to date. The biggest thing, though, and the biggest learning, even building this online, is building through grocery is a much better channel, especially for food. One, we have a product that's fairly heavy, ships, and the one thing we did really well is...
Can we see the packaging, actually? Can you show us the packaging?
So this is the pancake waffle mix. This is what you'd find on shelves, and you're going to find more and more shelves as we get into the fall.
And that's 100% made out of beer waste, or?
No, so these are the baking mixes. So that was one thing we learned during our product trial, is that there's not a ton of people out there who have, one, time to bake from scratch, or two, want to do the learning experience with something that's brand new. Because we're basically a 0 gram sugar flour, and most flours out there are like 60 to 70 grams of sugar / starch. So it's very different to work with. So what we're doing right now is like creating this baking group who's creating more recipes, but most people who want to try this product, you want them to experience success the first time. And so we're doing baking mixes where they only have to add a few ingredients, and we're making it as easy as possible. And there's still a few people who make mistakes. Like, that's the thing. Like, if they're a very first time baker and they're following instructions to the T, but like, baking's a science. And if they're at a different elevation and they bake to like the minute. So actually we just got a grant to work with a food scientist to create like ranges and stuff like that. So there's like, that's the cool thing. You keep getting opportunities, you keep iterating and keep getting better. And that's one of the things we learned after going online and selling primarily online for the first year of having the product in market, because we launched the product via Kickstarter.
And that was 2020? Was that 2020 when it launched?
Online? No, that was 2021 for the baking mixes. Everything prior to this was baked goods. And so we launched that via Kickstarter successfully, just shy of 6,000, learned about fulfilling all that and whatnot. And then we started like reviewing the customers, and most of them said they're like, great product, all good, but we don't want to buy 6 or 7 at a time, which you have to buy to get free shipping. They're like, we just want to pick 1 or 2 up in a grocery store with our regular groceries. So that was kind of the big learning that said, okay, we need to go more in stores, put it where people are already shopping for food. And so that's what we're doing. We're just constantly following what the consumers want.
Right, because shipping is a very big expense, right? For any product, especially foods, right? Food products.
Oh my God, the last 6 months has been unreal to watch the shipping charges go up, and they keep going up.
Yeah, it's insane. It's what we're hearing from other CPG or like, consumer goods companies. And so you sell mostly in Canada or in the US as well?
We haven't started selling in the US at all because of like regulations and stuff. We already, because we're like doing something with food waste, if you pass it by the like regulatory bodies, they already get their like hairs up, because they're like, you're doing what? So from a safety standpoint, like we're taking it one step at a time. We're pushing, since we know we're going into grocery, we're focusing primarily on BC and a little bit of Alberta. And the Alberta focus is just because we have a big network. Like, me and my remaining co-founder are both from Alberta originally. And he was a barley farmer. So he's got relationships with like the Barley Association and stuff. And they're headquartered out of Alberta. So
nice. Cool. So I guess let's go very high level. So talk to us about your top 3 channels right now. You said online was a channel, but you're trying to get into like retail, right? What are your biggest channels now, like at this very moment?
At this very moment, so summer, like baking takes a little bit of a pause. Most people, I'm like, I don't want to turn on my apartment oven right now. I want somebody baking for me. So that's our biggest channel during the summer, is actually still through our cafes. A couple of them stayed online. We brought on a couple new ones. And because we're focused on the baking mixes, we actually work with a female-founded bakery that started out of the same kitchen as us. And so we basically just gave her our recipes. She's creating more. And she's building out that channel and making it bigger. And we just started partnering with UBC Food Services. So we're just getting ready to start that in September. But that was the one that we built our first potential funding round off of. So it's cool to see that that's coming back 2 years later, one after COVID. Yeah. Second would be right now still online, is doing just a little bit more than grocery. But like I said, we just got last week the approval to go in to sell into the different Safeways and Thrifties. So that's basically my next 2 weeks is visiting the managers that I can get FaceTime with, and getting on those store shelves, because that'll be our biggest channel once we can get in there.
And do you just reach out to them, or do they reach out to you? Do you have to meet every single one of the managers?
I'm going so they got an email to be like, you can now carry this product. It's been approved by headquarters for BC local program. And so now my job is to go out and meet managers, but every manager is different. Some managers are like, I'm more of an email person. I'm more of a phone call person. So you got to figure that out. That's the thing. It's not sure. You got to figure out people, how they want to work. You got to meet them where they're at. Exactly. Until you get big enough where you can actually go to the full chain, and then you work with teams, right? There's a big team that makes it all happen. So,
wow. So with regard to online, because online is your second biggest channel, is it mostly organic? Do you guys run any ads, PPC ads? Do you guys do any influencer stuff, affiliates?
We've done a little bit of everything. So I always say start small and then repeat what's giving you the best bang for your buck. Influencer probably did the best. The one thing is learn to be one. So one of our biggest drivers is my LinkedIn, which I do go quiet during the summer to give myself a little bit of a break. But that was the one big thing about the Kickstarter that gave us a lot of knowledge, is that Kickstarter was able to grab where all the traffic was coming from. And over, I think it was 54% of the leads that converted were from my LinkedIn. So, wow. Yeah. So that was the big organic route. So we now see if we did get an influencer who really resonates with the product, then it could go somewhere. And so we did just recently partner up with a dietitian, who's also an influencer. And she caters to families, which is our target demographic. And so she's been driving a bit of traffic. She does 1 to 2 posts a month. She's been starting to write blog posts for us and stuff. So that's been really good. We haven't gone back into online ads, especially at around the same time as delivery started going up. The conversions from online ads started going down. I don't know if consumers are trusting them less, but yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, do you guys charge for shipping right now or no?
Not over a certain amount. So I think it's $60. I think we adjusted it. But yeah, we might have to adjust it again soon, because fuel surcharges are this way that they can they literally change it on you from week to week sometimes.
Yeah, that's wild. And do you guys have a third channel? Have you guys tested out any PPC? Sorry, I forgot. I don't know if you said anything about that yet.
I don't think we've done that. I just attended another Amazon thing, but that's one of the things we've learned is during the last 2 years is we need to bring on and at least be able to work with somebody who's got expertise and is willing to meet us where we're at. Yeah. So that's kind of this big thing. Most people don't realize it's always a negotiation. You always have the ability to say no, unless you sign a really bad long-term contract. So we tend to make sure that everything has a near-term end date. If something needs to be worked out, then we need to bring on a funding partner to do it. If it needs a 6 or 12 month contract, and we need to make sure we have funds to cover that before we
and especially you guys are at a stage right now where there's probably going to be a lot of testing required. So maybe the first month and a half is just going to go towards testing. It's not even going to be the scaling phase. So that period you can almost write off whatever that expense is. So you want to make sure that you keep the cost as low as possible, right? So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's such a huge education component with our product. Like
for
we're
sure.
we're on like a major trend, and not like one of these trends that's only going to be around for 3 years and you want to jump on it and ride it fast.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And okay, so let's talk about let's maybe bring it full circle. So what are like so influencers worked really well. Online is great. What do you think? Like above all, just like a very high level, what would you say is the biggest like the biggest key to success for you and Susgrainable so far? Like if you were to say above all else, what has been the number one thing for you?
So the number one thing in terms of like a marketing perspective is getting product into people's mouths and getting them to try it. Um, and the timing of the year, honestly, like we're heading into like we know our sales go up every year. They've gone up by like 400% at the end of the year because people love gifting this product. Like it's a very
Yeah.
cool product to gift out. So we know that we've been partnering with like gift basket companies more and more. We don't have the bandwidth to do it ourselves. Like we did it the last few years, but we knew this year, like if we're doing grocery too, we don't have the bandwidth to do these like catered packages. Because yeah, those big corporate clients want like you to grab items from somebody else and coordinate it all and do all that stuff. So that's one of the biggest things is honestly just getting as much product out there and getting awareness out there. And I think for like online, getting videos of people trying the product and stuff like that, like
Yeah,
videos of people raving about the product convert. The static images are not converting like they used to.
not at all. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely all about video. So look, this has been a great episode. I'm finally getting my taste buds back. I'm finally starting to taste again. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to figure out how to dab a little bit less. But it's been very fun doing this. And if we were like, what's next for the next 6 months, just so we can kind of keep up to date with Susgrainable and your guys' milestones. Like, what's next to look up to look forward to.
Yeah, so we're pushing to the limits of our capacity of what we're able to handle in terms of production without having our own facility. So we're out there seeking a major funding partner to put the facility together because we can get our costs down on our core input product by like 95% with our own facility.
Wow.
It's actually nuts how much our costs come down, but then our capacity goes through the roof. So then we have to find bakeries that want to use the product. So we're building out that whole ecosystem right now. But building a facility doesn't happen overnight. And upcycling is really starting to take off. So we want to find that partner, that right fit. We've identified a location already. But we basically need somebody with some funds that really wants to fight food waste and wants to fight it in this fun and innovative way. Because we have the game plan in place. And then, it's just constantly having those retailer conversations and putting product where people want it so they can buy it and keep building it out.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to on my next trip to Safeway, seeing your guys' product on the shelves. That's going to be
what's your Safeway? Let's see if I can hit it up. What's the closest Safeway to you?
My closest Safeway, I think it's oh god. So right now I'm near Yaletown. I don't think there's a Safeway in downtown.
I don't think so. There's one in Kits.
Yeah, I think that might be the closest one to me. I'm right across the water. Kits is right across the water for me. So maybe
that one's on my list. That one's on my list. So
let me know. Let me know. And well, thank you so much for jumping on and doing this first hot sauce challenge with me. I'm gonna do a lot less next time. That definitely killed me for a good 3 minutes there. No, appreciate it and excited to keep on a lookout and watch your LinkedIn feeds and see what's to come by the end of the year.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to it. Thanks for getting in touch and thanks for having us on the show. All right. Yeah, this was fun. I can actually know that I can go eat this on food now because I was terrified.
No, you did totally fine.
I'm sweating, but that's like it tastes good. So I was like,
God. Not looking forward to the raw footage of me just choking over my saliva. Oh God, that was bad. Anyways, Marc, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Take care.